Welcome, friends. I'm so glad you're here. This channel is all about helping you create connections that last a lifetime. And today we're unlocking one powerful way to stay unforgettable. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and share your thoughts below so we can grow and learn together. Before we dive into the secret that makes someone unforgettable, we need to talk about what it truly means to leave a lasting impact. Many people believe it's about clever lines or playing hard to get, but that's just surface noise. When a memory endures, it isn't because of a trick, it's because of the way you make another person feel in your presence. Think about the moments you can't forget from your own life. They're not a string of rehearsed words or perfectly staged encounters. They're the times when you felt something powerful, when someone's energy lingered even after they left the room. That is the essence of being unforgettable, and it starts with showing up as your genuine self. Picture a conversation that stays with you for days. It wasn't memorable because the other person said something scripted. It mattered because their curiosity about you felt real, their laughter felt warm, and their attention felt focused. They gave you the gift of being seen. That's the first layer of making an imprint that lasts beyond a single evening or a fleeting interaction. When you embrace this idea, you stop trying to manufacture moments and instead begin to create them naturally. A lasting impression is also about emotional resonance. Science tells us that our brains prioritize feelings over facts. We remember the joy, the excitement, the comfort, or even the tension someone brought into our lives far more than we remember their exact words. So if you want a man to remember you endlessly, concentrate on how your time together makes him feel. Is he relaxed when you talk? Does he feel inspired by your outlook? Does he sense that you're genuinely interested in his world? Those subtle feelings create a memory that no clever line can compete with. Now, to reach that depth, you need to bring your authentic self forward. Authenticity is magnetic because it's rare. When you're willing to share a glimpse of your true thoughts, your dreams, your quirks, you become more than just another person passing through his life. You become someone whose presence is rich and layered. That doesn't mean oversharing or trying to impress. It means being comfortable enough to let your real personality breathe. Whether it's your sense of humor, your unique perspective on a topic, or the calm confidence you carry, authenticity sparks curiosity and keeps you vivid in someone's mind. Another dimension of leaving a lasting mark is the energy you bring into every interaction. People are drawn to those who radiate positivity and groundedness. You don't need to be the loudest or most animated person in the room. Instead, focus on bringing a warm, attentive presence. When you listen fully, when you respond thoughtfully, when you make someone feel like the only person that matters for those moments, it etches your presence into their memory. That attentive energy is a quiet but powerful force. Finally, remember that lasting impact isn't about being flawless. Sometimes the most unforgettable moments happen in imperfection. A shared laugh over a small mistake, a genuine admission of nervousness, a sudden change of plans that turns into an adventure. Those unscripted touches of humanity create stories that people love to revisit. They remind the other person of the real connection you share, not a polished performance. So before we talk about the one specific way to make a man never forget you, understand this foundation. It's not about chasing or performing. It's about crafting moments of genuine presence and emotional depth. When you focus on how you make him feel, when you show up authentically and bring warmth and curiosity to every exchange, you naturally create a memory that stands out in a sea of routine encounters. That memory doesn't fade because it isn't built on technique, it's built on truth. Confidence is the quiet power that makes you unforgettable, and it isn't about walking into a room and demanding attention. It's about carrying yourself with a calm assurance that says you value who you are. When you radiate that kind of confidence, people sense it instantly. A man might not be able to explain why you stay on his mind, but he feels it in the way you move, the way you speak, and the way you own your space without needing anyone's approval. This is not arrogance or ego. It's a deep respect for yourself, and that respect is magnetic. Think of confidence as the energy you bring before you even say a word. Your posture tells a story. Shoulders back, head held high, not stiff or guarded, but open and relaxed. It shows that you are comfortable in your own skin. You don't need to overcompensate with loud statements or constant chatter. Even a quiet person can exude confidence when every movement communicates ease and self-acceptance. That physical presence lingers in someone's memory long after a conversation ends because it makes an impression on a deeper, almost subconscious level. Speaking with confidence doesn't mean dominating a conversation. It means expressing yourself clearly and honestly. When you share your thoughts without apologizing for them, you show that you trust your own voice. A steady tone, a measured pace, and the willingness to pause all communicate self-assurance. You don't rush to fill every silence because you know that what you have to say carries value. Those small moments, holding a gaze, finishing a thought without backtracking, build an image of someone who is secure and unforgettable. Confidence also shows in the choices you make about your own life. You have passions, goals, and interests that exist beyond any relationship, and you nurture them. When a man sees that you are driven by more than just attention or validation, he recognizes a strength that sets you apart. It sends the message that you are not waiting to be chosen. You have already chosen yourself. That independence is intriguing because it creates a sense of mystery and depth. It tells him that you are a whole person, not defined by his presence, and that realization keeps you in his mind. Part of authentic confidence is accepting imperfections. You don't need to hide your quirks or pretend to be flawless. When you laugh at yourself or admit when you're unsure, it shows that your self-worth isn't fragile. Paradoxically, those honest moments often make the strongest impression. They reveal a groundedness that feels refreshing. A man will remember how effortlessly you owned your individuality, how you never tried to be someone else to fit an image. That kind of honesty is rare, and rarity is unforgettable. Confidence also changes the way you respond to challenges. When plans shift or a conversation takes an unexpected turn, you stay composed. You adapt without panic because you trust yourself to handle what comes next. That calm under pressure is powerful. It shows that you are not easily shaken, and that steadiness leaves a lasting imprint. People feel safe and inspired in the company of someone who can navigate uncertainty with grace. To embody this kind of confidence, you don't need dramatic gestures. Start with small habits, keep promises to yourself, set personal goals, and follow through. Dress in a way that makes you feel like the best version of you, and speak from a place of conviction. Over time, these choices build a quiet, undeniable strength. When a man encounters that strength, it resonates long after the moment passes. Confidence is not a performance. It is the natural glow of someone who knows their worth and lives it daily. When you carry yourself with that quiet assurance, comfortable in your skin, grounded in your own life, unafraid of silence or imperfection, you become the person he remembers. Not because you tried to impress him, but because you impressed yourself first, and that is a presence no one can forget. Emotional connection is the invisible thread that binds two people together long after words have faded, and it's the real reason someone keeps thinking about you. People don't hold on to a checklist of what you wore or the clever phrases you used. They remember the way you made them feel when you were with them. That feeling becomes a quiet echo that lingers in their mind and heart. When you create moments of genuine understanding and warmth, you build a memory that resists time. Building that kind of connection starts with listening, truly listening. It's not just nodding while you plan your next response. It's giving your full attention, letting your curiosity lead the conversation, and showing that you value the person in front of you. When you lean in, ask thoughtful questions, and let silence have its place, you communicate something rare, that his thoughts and experiences matter. That validation isn't loud or dramatic, but it's powerful enough to stay with him long after you part. Shared vulnerability deepens this bond. That doesn't mean oversharing or confessing every private detail. It's about allowing small glimpses of your real self, your opinions, your passions, maybe even a story about a challenge you overcame. When you reveal a little of your truth, you invite him to do the same. Those honest exchanges create a sense of intimacy that can't be faked. He remembers not only your words, but the courage behind them. Moments of genuine empathy also create lasting impact. When you respond with understanding instead of judgment, you build trust. Maybe he talks about a stressful day or a personal goal, and you respond with compassion and encouragement. Those simple acts plant memories that are tied to comfort and safety. People carry those feelings with them because they are rare in a world where many interactions stay on the surface. Playfulness is another key ingredient. Light teasing, shared jokes, and spontaneous laughter create emotional snapshots that stand out. Think about the times you've laughed so hard with someone that you couldn't catch your breath. That joy becomes a memory that replays on its own. A shared inside joke or a silly moment can serve as a mental anchor, reminding him of your unique chemistry every time it crosses his mind. Presence is equally important. When you're fully in the moment, free of distractions, you create a space that feels almost timeless. Putting away your phone, holding steady eye contact, and noticing small details show that you're not just physically there, but emotionally invested. That level of focus is disarming. It makes the other person feel like they are the only one in the room, and that sensation is unforgettable. Even subtle physical cues like a warm smile, a gentle touch on the arm at the right moment, or an expression that mirrors his emotion can heighten the sense of connection. These gestures speak to the human need for closeness. They communicate care without words and leave a sensory memory that the mind recalls with surprising clarity. Emotional connection doesn't end when you say goodbye. A thoughtful follow-up, a message about something he mentioned, a note of encouragement extends the moment and reinforces the bond. It tells him that your interaction wasn't just passing time, it mattered to you too. That afterthought deepens the impression and keeps the connection alive. The beauty of emotional connection is that it can't be forced or faked. It grows when you are genuine, curious, and present. When a man walks away feeling seen, heard, and valued, he doesn't just remember your face or your words. He remembers the feeling of being fully understood. And that feeling is what will bring you to mind again and again long after the conversation ends. Independence is the quiet spark that keeps someone fascinated long after you've stepped away, because it adds a layer of mystery that no words can create. When you are fully engaged in your own life, you send an unspoken message. You are complete on your own. That truth doesn't push people away. It draws them closer because it's rare and magnetic. A man can admire your beauty or enjoy your company, but what makes him remember you endlessly is realizing that you are already fulfilled, with or without his attention. Living with independence begins with having a life that excites you. Your goals, passions, friendships, and hobbies are not accessories, they're the heart of your daily rhythm. When you talk about the project you're pursuing, the class you're taking, or the trip you're planning, your eyes light up in a way that no borrowed story can imitate. That spark leaves an impression because it shows that you're not waiting for someone else to bring excitement into your world. You create it yourself, and that makes you unforgettable. Mystery grows naturally when you don't rush to share every detail. You can be open and warm while still keeping certain parts of your journey just for yourself. Maybe you mention a new goal, but don't outline every step. Or you share a story that hints at deeper experiences without explaining everything. That gentle restraint isn't about playing games. It's about letting someone discover you layer by layer. The human mind remembers what it wants to understand, and that curiosity keeps you in his thoughts. Independence also means you set healthy boundaries. You know when to say yes and when to say no, and you do it with kindness but clarity. When you protect your time and energy, you show that you respect yourself, and that respect demands respect in return. A man who experiences that balance sees you as someone with inner strength. He realizes that being part of your life is a privilege, not a given, and that realization makes every moment you share more significant. Your independence invites admiration because it's rooted in self-confidence. When you decide to spend an evening with friends, dedicate a weekend to a personal project, or simply enjoy quiet time alone, you show that you are the source of your own happiness. That freedom is compelling. Instead of wondering if you'll cling to him, he wonders how you manage to stay so self-possessed. That question lingers, and with it, so do you. Even in conversation, independence shows through. You share your thoughts honestly without needing constant agreement. You can appreciate his perspective while standing by your own. That balance of openness and self-assurance creates a dialogue that feels fresh and alive. He doesn't just remember what you said, he remembers how confidently you carried your ideas. It's not about winning debates, it's about showing that your mind is vibrant and your voice is steady. This kind of independence isn't cold or distant. It's warm and inviting because it comes from self-love, not from walls. You can care deeply, express affection, and enjoy closeness while still keeping your individuality intact. That combination, being loving without losing yourself, is what keeps someone captivated. He knows you choose to be with him, not because you need him, but because you want to share your already full life. When you embrace independence, every interaction becomes more meaningful. Time together is a choice, not an obligation, and choices carry weight. The memories you create aren't clouded by neediness, they're brightened by freedom. That sense of mystery and self-possession lingers like a favorite song that plays unexpectedly and stays in his head. He won't forget you because you never tried to be unforgettable. You simply lived as your own whole, vibrant person. And that is the one thing he will never stop thinking about. Signature moments are the quiet magic that make a person unforgettable. And they don't have to be extravagant to leave a lasting mark. They are the little experiences, gestures, or inside jokes that belong only to the two of you, memories that stand apart from the ordinary. When you create these unique moments, you give someone something to replay in their mind again and again, long after the conversation has ended. It's not about expensive gifts or big declarations. It's about crafting memories that feel personal and unrepeatable. Think of the times you've laughed with someone until you cried over something no one else would understand. That shared laughter becomes a private treasure. Maybe it's a phrase you both invented that makes you smile when you hear it, or a silly dance you did in the kitchen when a favorite song came on. These small details are powerful because they belong only to the two of you. When he thinks of you, those memories resurface, and with them, the feelings you created together. A signature moment can also come from a thoughtful gesture that shows you were truly paying attention. Perhaps he once mentioned his favorite childhood snack, and weeks later, you surprise him with it during a casual meetup. Or maybe you remember a story about a place he's always wanted to visit, and you share a small reminder of that dream. A photo, a book, or even a suggestion to explore something similar nearby. These gestures aren't grand, but they prove you listen and care in a way that's rare. That attention to detail becomes a mental bookmark with your name on it. Spontaneity often makes these memories even stronger. When you allow yourself to follow a sudden idea, a late night walk to watch the stars, a detour to try an unusual dessert, a game that springs from nowhere, you create moments that feel alive and unscripted. Because they're unexpected, they stand out in his mind. People don't forget the evening that turned into an adventure simply because you both said yes to something different. Even everyday routines can become signature moments if you infuse them with meaning. Maybe it's the way you always start your conversations with a playful question or the unique way you say goodbye. Perhaps it's a shared habit like meeting at the same coffee spot and ordering a secret menu item only the two of you know about. These patterns create familiarity, and familiarity breeds comfort and attachment long after he's walked away. Something as simple as passing that coffee shop can bring your memory rushing back. The key is to keep these moments authentic. They're not designed to impress. They emerge from genuine connection and shared curiosity. If you try to force them, they lose their power. The beauty lies in their natural flow, an experience that feels effortless and perfectly suited to your personalities. When you're present, playful, and attentive, these moments happen almost on their own. Signature moments also deepen emotional intimacy. They become private symbols of your bond, something that no one else fully understands. That exclusivity is powerful. It creates a sense of us that lingers even if you're apart. When life gets busy or distance grows, he will remember those small, vivid experiences and feel the connection all over again. And when you leave these moments behind with warmth and confidence, you reinforce the idea that time with you is special. You're not trying to trap someone with grand gestures. You're simply living in a way that's memorable because it's real. Long after the words fade, he will recall the night you laughed uncontrollably, the thoughtful surprise that felt like it was just for him, the shared ritual that no one else knew about. Those memories become your signature, and they stay with him like a favorite story he'll never stop telling himself. Leaving with grace is the final, lasting brushstroke that ensures someone will remember you long after the moment ends. It's about the energy you carry when it's time to part ways, whether it's the end of a conversation, a date, or even a relationship. When you close an interaction with warmth and confidence instead of clinging or rushing, you create a memory of ease and positivity that stands apart from the usual awkward goodbyes. People remember how you make them feel, and a graceful exit leaves them with a sense of calm admiration. Grace begins with presence. Instead of glancing at your phone or appearing distracted as things wrap up, stay engaged right until the last second. Offer genuine appreciation for the time you spent together, even if it was brief. A simple, sincere, "I really enjoyed this," carries more weight than you might think. It shows that you valued the moment, but aren't desperate for the next one. That balance of enjoyment and independence is quietly captivating. Confidence is at the heart of a graceful goodbye. You don't need to explain why you're leaving or apologize for it. If you have other plans or simply need rest, express it kindly and clearly. Saying something like, "I had such a good time, but I have an early start tomorrow," communicates self-respect and maturity. It shows that you honor your own schedule and trust that the connection you've made is strong enough to stand without constant attention. Small, thoughtful gestures can also elevate a farewell. Maintaining eye contact, offering a warm smile, or a gentle touch on the arm creates a sensory memory that lingers. These subtle cues speak volumes without a single extra word. They send a message of affection and assurance that doesn't rely on grand displays. He will remember the feeling of that last moment, the steadiness in your gaze, the warmth of your smile, because those are the impressions that stick when everything else fades. A graceful departure is especially powerful when the situation is emotional or challenging. If a conversation turns heavy or a relationship is ending, kindness becomes even more memorable. Thanking someone for what you shared, acknowledging the good times without bitterness, and walking away with dignity create an indelible impression of strength. Long after the details blur, he will recall how you handled a difficult moment with poise, and that memory will carry respect. Another layer of leaving with grace is letting the goodbye breathe. You don't need to rush to fill the silence or send a flurry of follow-up messages to maintain the connection. Trust that the experience you created speaks for itself. A thoughtful message later, something small and specific, like "still thinking about that story you told, it made me smile," can add a gentle echo, but it's never about chasing. It's about honoring the moment without trying to control what comes next. This kind of ending also creates space for anticipation. When you exit gracefully, you leave room for curiosity. He wonders when he'll see you again, not because you're playing games, but because you left on a note of calm confidence. That intrigue keeps you in his thoughts far more than any dramatic gesture could. Graceful goodbyes aren't about perfection. They're about authenticity and self-respect. Whether you're stepping away for a few hours or closing a chapter entirely, the way you leave shapes how you're remembered. When you combine genuine appreciation with quiet confidence, you create a lasting mental snapshot, a person who knows her worth, values the moment, and moves forward with elegance. That final impression becomes the lasting memory, a feeling of admiration and warmth that stays with him long after the door closes.